Now, Uncle John, now to the elephant in the room, the big question of the night.
Yes.
Why get married? Why do people get married? Why did I get married? As you remember, Uncle John mentioned in the previous episode, if it's a kid, you can get a kid out of marriage. If it's social status, you can get social status out of marriage, and many other ideas. So it left me thinking, and I'm sure it left many viewers thinking, why do we get married?
Thank you very much for that question. I know at the last episode we discussed about why get married, and we noted that whatever many people answer that question, you can simply get it without getting married. As you remember, we said about social status, we said about children, we said about love, and we said about security. And people were saying even economy is so tough and we need a partner to share with the economy. But we agreed all together that all these things, you can get them without getting married. So why get married? Today, allow me to blouse a little bit about why get married. I must tell the audience that marriage is not a man's idea. Man has no knowledge about marriage. But God, the Creator, came with the idea of marriage. So, marriage is a God's idea. And why, when we read the unique book of God, we realize that God intended marriage, the union of two people, to make sure that the deep need of a human being is met. So, I would tell the audience that the purpose of marriage is to meet God's idea, and the God's idea is to meet the deep need of a human being. I would also say that the plan of God in marriage was because He created the earth and He needed this earth to be occupied. He needed us to dominate the land. He needed us to subdue the land. And that was His intention. Finally, Moses, let me tell you one thing, that Eve did not choose Adam. Even Adam did not choose Eve. That gives us a secret behind the God's idea. Meaning that it is God who chooses your wife. It is God who chooses your husband. You may have met in a way, in a funny way. You may have met in school, in colleges, in universities. You may have met both of you together in workplace. But you never know. You met so many people. You met so many women. You met so many girls. You met so many boys. But God directed you to one particular person. That is God's idea, not yours. That is God's networking. And let me tell you that He chose your parents. When you came to this earth, God chose where you should be born. Remember the unique book of God. He chose where His Son is to be born. There were many people and there were many virgins in Jerusalem, in Israel, but He chose one in Bethlehem. That is where Jesus was born. So He chooses your parents. The other thing says that even the sibling that come out of your union, it is God who chooses them, not you. It is God who knows which sibling to go to where. Let me tell you and let the audience know that you are a spirit. And this body that you have is a carrier of the spirit. And that's the spirit which carries your soul was there even before you were born. And God chooses where to put that spirit. So we should be proud to God by knowing that He is the one who actually directed where you should be born. Even the country that you are born, God knows the purpose of you being born in that country. He also chooses your sibling. He knows how many children you should have. We struggle so much by family planning. We struggle so much by knowing how many children we should have in this family. But let me tell you for sure that God is interested in what He gives you. It's a gift. And the other thing is that when I look at you, you have all the parts of the body. Those parts are gifts. Your eye is a gift. Your nose is a gift. Your tongue is a gift. Even your hand is a gift. And all the parts of your body is a gift. So He did put that to satisfy the need and the deep need of a man and the deep need of a woman. And that is why I said at the beginning, we should endeavor to discover the interests and the needs of our spouse.
Thank you very much, Uncle John, for answering that question. Now it begs us to ask another big question, a follow-up question to that. If God chooses our partners for us,
Yes.
if God is the engineer, if God is the tailor who stitches our partners to us, why is this combination not working? Especially in recent marriages. Why is this combination, which is God's perfect plan, not working in marriages?
As we endeavor to answer that question in our next as we endeavor to answer that question in our next episode, maybe I can give some few highlights on that. Although much of it I'll clarify next time. Let me tell you that God had a good intention. And He gave you your partner for a good extension, for a good expectation. We realize, as I told you, that He needs to satisfy your deep need. He needs also to make sure that this world is a world that we should worship and follow His command so that we can eat the best of the land. We found the equation. I would want to say one thing. Everything that God gives a man, everything that is a blessing to a man, has a fight. There is a fight. We have two kingdoms. We have the kingdom of God and we have the kingdom of Satan. And each kingdom, it's at war. There is a war between the two kingdoms. And the man is the grass. When two elephants fight, the grass suffers. So, the issue of combination is a good plan for God. But there is something that I would want to review today as a secret. Sin brings the destruction. Besides the sin, there is what we call the character of a human being. And besides the character, there is the traits. A man is born with the traits. And these traits are exposed physically by the character. And sin is brought by missing the mark of God. When you miss the mark, you have sinned. And the evil one knows exactly that. He knows it from the creation. So whatever God did for you to enjoy, He comes and observes your character. He comes and observes your traits. And He comes and observes the traits and the characters of your spouse. And He makes sure that they collide. And when they collide, the marriage is at a shake-up. It is on a shake-up ground. We are going to see how you can solve these shake-ups at our next episode.
Thank you, Uncle John. It's always a pleasure having you on Kingdom Generation for Christ. To our viewers, if you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for, like, share, and also invite your friends, and also continue bringing those questions, because as you've heard, on the next episode, we'll be uncovering why this combination that Uncle John has shared with us, this combination that the Lord has engineered, why is it not working? Why is it dysfunctional? So on the next episode, he has promised us that he will be sharing on how to uncover and how to make this combination work. Thank you very much, and continue sharing.